This is my Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 out of theater reaction. Overall, I really like this movie. I think it's about as good as Guardians 1 and 2. Like Guardians 1 and 2, it has some flaws, it has some pros, and it has a lot of heart, most of all. This movie has a ton of heart, and despite what you may have heard or seen in the trailers, it was surprisingly a lot less bleak than I thought it was going to be. It ends on a really hopeful note, and I loved that about it most of all. I loved all the characters. Rocket is the man. They did my boy Rocket right. Moving on to things that I didn't like. Drax, they kind of made him an idiot, like the same way they made Thor an idiot in Thor 4. That was never my interpretation of Drax. Multiple characters just straight out call him an idiot, and it doesn't seem true to Drax to me, because to me, Drax was always a Klingon type, warrior type, where he made what seemed to be irrational decisions, but it's actually because he has a code of honor, and his, passionate pride overrides putting himself or others in peril, and that's always how I interpreted him. But in this movie, he's an idiot, but he still has a good character moment too. All the main characters have great character moments, and it's going to be very satisfying for fans of Guardians of the Galaxy overall. Another thing I didn't like was the presence of the Sovereign. I thought those characters, the gold-colored alien characters, I thought they were dead weight in Volume 2, and they come back in this movie, and they're kind of just dead weight again. There's Adam Warlock. He is just part of the Sovereign, and he's just a pawn for them, and so he didn't really... Yeah, it just felt like dead weight. All that could have been cut out, because this movie is a little bit long, but it still wasn't so bad that it weighed everything down. The Chukwudi Iwuji, who played the High Evolutionary, I thought he was great. I loved his performance. I thought, if anything, he was almost low-key the comedy relief. Like, they should have played into that more instead of trying to make Drax the comedy relief. I think he actually had better potential for being the comedy relief as a character, because the actor played him to this high degree of camp, almost camp, like he's a Saturday morning villain. But the thing is, he was kind of written almost like a Saturday morning villain. He's kind of similar to Ronan the Accuser from the first movie, but the way Chukwudi approaches it is like great. Like, I loved his screen presence in the movie. Like, to me, I think I interpreted it as like intentionally camp and in a good way. So I liked him in the movie. Most of the humor and quips I really liked and it worked for me, but there was one or two moments where it didn't work. Like I said, turning Drax into an idiot, that didn't work for me. There was also a little gag about like a person trying to open the door of a car while the person on the inside is trying to unlock it, and that joke has been done a million times, and that did not land with me. And they used the one F word in the movie for that joke, and that almost redeemed it, but not quite. So not all the humor worked. Most of it did, because it was all character driven, and I loved most of it. And finally, they bring a character back from Volume 1. They bring him back in this movie, and I rewatched all the previous movies before seeing this, and I love that they brought this character back, because when I was watching Volume 1, I said, oh yeah, whatever happened to so-and-so? I won't spoil it for you. But I love that they brought someone back from the first movie. You'll see what I'm talking about when you see it. But overall, highly recommend. Best Marvel movie I've seen in a while. Not gloom and doom, bleak, depressing. It has some heavy themes. The bad guy is like tortures animals and stuff, but it's hopeful. It's overall a hopeful movie. So better action than Volume 2. It's on the same level of action as Volume 1, in my opinion, but ton of heart. It's also its own unique thing. and I put them as about, they're all just about equally as good. So that's my review. Recommend it. James Gunn once again delivers. He does my boy Rocket right. And Peter, you got to not take the Zune as seriously as you do. You're going to see what I'm talking about when you see the movie. So with that, thanks. Bye-bye.